Hi, I'm Logan Connors, President of LC Investment Analytics and the developer of the new LCI trading system in MetaStock 14. The LCI trading system looks at key support and resistance levels, Fibonacci retracements, volume, volatility, candlestick patterns, and an array of other indicators to come together to bring you an accurate and precise signal within the market. Let's go ahead and go into the MetaStock 14 program so that we can take a look at this new system. Okay, let's dig into the LCI trading system, and first we're going to look at the components that make up the system itself. Now, the LC indicators, like we discussed before, are going to focus on support and resistance levels, Fibonacci retracements, volume, exhaustion and expansion, volatility, overbought, oversold conditions, trailing stops and profit targets, among other things that are incorporated directly within the system. Now, the LCI support and resistance indicators are automatically identified with no user input required. The LCI support and resistance indicators take advantage of proprietary price structuring to identify where the most probable support and resistance levels are going to be, and it displays that automatically for you within your chart. Now, because of the dynamic nature of the support and resistance levels, you can place these within any instrument, whether it's stocks, futures, forex, and you can utilize it on any time frame. So you can utilize it on daily, weekly, or even intraday time frames. And now with the new features within MetaStock 14 of tick bars, you can utilize it within the tick bars as well. Now, the support and resistance will draw from the starting point of that level. Now, along with the support and resistance level indicators, you're going to have your automatic Fibonacci retracement levels. Now, the Fibonacci retracement levels are based off of your high and low points of support and resistance, and it allows you to visually get an interpretation of where these levels are going to be without having to manually draw them within your chart. This allows you as a trader to save hours worth of time and allows you to scan for these levels, analyze, test them, and even forecast them in a systematic and time-saving approach. Now, with the Fibonacci levels, we're dividing it out equally, the tops being the 0 and 100%, the midline that you see being the 50%, the 61 and 30% on the other side, and then the 75 and 25% levels on that zone. The LCI volume indicators, takes advantage of multiple volume structures. Now, volume is one of the most important data fields that's available in technical analysis, but unfortunately, it's one of the most underused. That's because it's not understood. Volume, there's several things that we pull from the volume indicator. We pull out volatility, we pull out price and trend exhaustion, and we also can identify trend. So the LCI volume indicators are going to give you a structure of trend, strength of trend, and where the potential weaknesses or professional buying and selling is going on within the market. As you look at the volume indicator, you're going to notice you've got a center white line, which gives us our average volume movements. You've got a lower yellow line, which gives us our exhaustion point. So if we see volume below that level, we know that price is starting to slow down. If we see the volume movements up above the top yellow band, we know that there's a lot of volume movement, volume activity, typically indicating that there are professional buying and selling that's occurring within that particular bar. Now, the color scheme, of course, green meaning a bullish trend and red meaning a bearish trend. The dark green and dark red indicate that we are having a consolidation in volatility. So if you have a dark green, that indicates that we're still considered to be in a bullish trend, yet price and volume is slowing down. We're starting to consolidate. On the flip side, if we have dark red, of course, we're in a bearish trend, and prices, again, are considered to be moving sideways or consolidating. Now, our brighter green is going to give us our strong bullish movements, and our brighter red is giving us our strong bearish movements. The LCI percent R is an adjusted Williams percent R that is much easier to read and identify overbought and oversold conditions that are utilized. It also is used in confirming the cycle movements within the scoring techniques within the LCI trading system. Now, the LCI stop loss is unlike any other stop loss that you've seen. The LCI stop loss has two different parts to it. Okay? Exiting a trade is by far the most difficult thing to do in trading. That's when our emotions take over, our fear and our greed. What the LCI stop loss indicator does is it gives an appropriate amount of room for the instrument to move without getting us stopped out too quickly, but not giving too much room that it allows us to give up a lot of our profits. Now, the LCI stop loss has an additional feature, and what it does is when there is a time of volatility, or if it analyzes when cycles are going to be changing, it tightens that stop. As you can see in the screenshot we have here, the dark blue is representing our standard stop level, and when the bright blue kicks in, it indicates that we've got a higher probability of a reversal in prices, and you can see it start to plot. This all comes together amongst other factors to give us our LCI scoring indicator, which is at the top of the screenshot here in red and blue. The blue indicating our bullish reversal probability, and the red indicating our bearish reversal probability. Now, these scoring indicators are designed to work around those supporting support and resistance levels. Okay, so by taking those into consideration, we can give ourselves a good idea as to the strength of that support or resistance level. Now, the scoring indicators, like the indicators we've already talked about, take into consideration candlestick patterns, and it utilizes about 5 or 6 of the most important reversal patterns that I've found in my trading career. It takes into consideration multiple aspects of our volume indicator and volatility. It's calculating the Fibonacci levels automatically to give us a confirmation on which Fibonacci levels are stronger, and cycles, and much, much more. Now, this leads us all to the LCI support and resistance expert. Now, within MetaStock, the expert advisor is going to give you buy and sell signals directly in your charts, and by utilizing the expert commentary, it's going to guide you through your entry and exit methods with a specific systematic structure. Looking at the expert commentary gives us an array of information that we can utilize when making our decisions. It's going to, of course, at the top give us our reversal projection analysis, which is based off of our scoring indicator. So it's going to print out that value that we can visually see from the indicator itself. Bullish, of course, meaning going to go up. Bearish, indicating the probability that it's going to go down, with confirming support and resistance levels. So in the example that we can see here, EL, we've got a current major bounce signal, and we have an 81% strength of the reversal pattern of that bounce pattern being successful. Now we can see with our entry management, it structures that we have to break the high of this signal within 3 bars to confirm our trade. So our limit entry is going to be 72. So that's going to be our price of entry and our confirmation that prices are moving in the direction that we expect. Now with that, we also get our initial stop level, which calculates the average movements of price and gives us, like the trailing stop indicator, a flexible but not too tight, not too loose area on which we can cut our profit or cut our losses short. Now, the profit target levels analyzed with our cycle movements give us an initial target. So if we just get a quick spurt, we have the likelihood of getting to 74.68. Our primary target that we're looking for is our 77.61 level, and if we exceed that primary target, then we're looking for the extended target, which is 81.51. Now, the indicator analytical breakdown, of course, is just going to give us a recap of what our indicators are telling us, along with our Fibonacci retracement values. Let's go ahead and move over to the MetaStock program and go through a workflow on how you would utilize this system within your trading yourself. So in MetaStock, looking at the new MetaStock Power Console, there's a couple different ways that we need to structure our workflow. Now, this is going to vary based off the instruments that you're trading. The LCI trading system is going to allow you to trade any instrument on any time frame. Now, the instrument itself doesn't matter. It can be stocks, futures, forex, and time frame can be intraday as well as tick data, which is now in the new MetaStock 14. We're going to stick to daily data for right now for scanning and finding purposes of a workflow to give you an idea on how the system works. Now, I'm going to go to the Explorer. Now, the LCI system has 4 explorations that are going to come within MetaStock 14. You're going to have your bearish bounce signals, which are going to look for your sell signals based off the expert. You've got your breakout signals, and that's both up and down. You've got your bullish bounce signals, which of course are your buy reversal signals. And then you've got your Fibonacci retracement scan. Now, the Fibonacci retracement scan does not utilize a filter, so it's going to give you a list of information. What it does is based off the instruments you're scanning. So, for example, if we scan the S&P 500, it'll give you a report of all 500 instruments, and it'll give you their Fibonacci retracement values for both major and minor retracements, and it'll also give you their scoring value. So if you want to scan based off of a scoring to help in a confirmation of other techniques that you may use, you can utilize this scan to get that scoring factor. For now, we're going to focus on the bullish bounce signals to give ourselves an opportunity to look at what the system is giving us. So I'm going to select the bullish bounce signal, and then I'm going to check the S&P 500. I'm going to run it based off of daily data and go ahead and click Start Exploration. So now what this system is doing is it's going through and it's calculating all the potential signals, buy signals that we have from the LCI expert. Now there are 3 different types of buy signals. We have an MB, which is considered a major bounce. We have PB, which is our pivot bounce. And we have SB, which is our switch bounce. They each are constructed differently around these zones, and they all take into consideration that scoring factor that we need to utilize to give ourselves a better understanding on what the underlying indicators are giving us. So we'll go ahead and we'll go into our report. Now, the way that the report is structured is we're going to highlight the instrument name, the closing price, as it is important to know what stocks or instruments we're trading that fit our price range. We've got our volume structure for the day. It's very important to trade instruments that have enough volume behind it. And then we're going to go into our signals. Now you can see the first one being major. If there's a 1 in the major column, then that indicates that we have a major bounce signal that has occurred for this particular instrument. Pivot, meaning that we have a pivot bounce or a PB signal that was given, and then a switch bounce. So to go into these bounces a little bit more, we'll touch on when we get into the actual chart, and we'll explain these signals as we go through. Now, in the last part of the exploration report is that we have the SR score. Now, the SR score is the scoring indicator and the ranking, so to speak, of that particular signal. So I can click on the SR score, and it's going to rank not only those that have a buy signal, but it's going to rank which buy signals are projected to be better signals. Now, looking at Estee Lauder, I can see that I've got a major and a switch bounce occurring, and I've got an SR score of 81. So it's a very high probability signal that I've got right now. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to save this list, and we'll analyze these within our charts. So over on the right-hand side, I'm going to click Save List, and I'm going to say Create New, and I'm going to say LCI Bullish Bounce, and I'm going to say Create. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and close the report. Now, at the top of my MetaStock Power Console, I'll click on Charting, and you'll notice that I have my custom, under my Custom Online Data List section, LCI Bullish Bounce. So I can go ahead and expand this, and I'm going to look for Estee Lauder, or EL. Now, from here, I select the template that I want to see. Now, the LCI has 3 templates. We've got our LCI Fibonacci, we've got our LCI main, support and resistance main, and we've got our LCI support and resistance zones. For now, I'm going to select the main template, and then we'll go over the templates as we get the chart open. Say Open Chart. Now you can see that I've got my signal and the scan that we got, and we can see the current price movement for the active market that's happening today. Now let's also apply our Fibonacci template. So right-click Apply Template, select Fibonacci, and apply. And I'm also going to right-click Apply Template, LCI Zone. Now you don't have to use all of these templates, but I want to give you an idea on what the system is structured for you and how it's structured for you. So we're going to column these, and we're going to go back into our main template for now. So I've got my buy signal. I can see that I'm structured based off of multiple signals. Okay, multiple signals. And I'm going to go into my expert commentary. Now I like to attach my commentary on the left-hand side of the program, and I can move my arrow over, and you can see that it's going to give me a printout like we saw in the screenshot of what I'm coming to expect of this trade. So I know based off this scan that I had an 81% probability, which is a very good probability out of 100. And it's giving me my price. My price must break the bounce signal high within 3 bars to confirm trade, which is 72. So I know that I'm putting in a limit entry at 72. I've got my initial stop, which is at 69.73. And I've got my initial target at 74.68 with my primary target at 77. Okay? And an extended target of 81.51. Now I've got my indicator structure as well highlighted for me on the analytical breakdown, and my current stop loss, which wouldn't be applied until we are in our trade. So the expert commentary gives you a lot of information. Now this is going to be tailored to long signals, short signals, breakout signals. They all have a structured commentary that comes with them. Now down here at the bottom, so we'll go ahead and we'll close our expert commentary. At the bottom of this, you see and notice you have some bright green and red areas. These are indications of the scoring indicator. So when you get a bright green area, those are even higher probability areas that are required for a signal. So a signal is going to require somewhere in the mid-range to give us some flexibility because it is a mathematical structure. But higher scoring are going to be highlighted in red or green. Red, of course, meaning we've got a high probability of prices heading down, and green meaning that we've got high probability of prices moving up. We've got our Williams %R at the top, which is giving us an easy to read, which we're in an oversold condition. And then we've got our volume, which again is very important. We can see that we're primarily in a downtrend, but we've got a lot of volume backing up our current signal, which is what we want to see. We want to see that pressure, that accumulation of professional buying, we can see it's happening in both bars. We also have our stop loss indicators that we can see once we're in a chart, it trails prices to give you an appropriate exit strategy. Now let's go over to the Fibonacci template, as we can see here, which is displaying automatically for us. Now, the purple Fibonacci levels are our major levels. They're looking at a broader time perspective or more data to give us those longer term values, and that's going to be the primary Fibonacci level that you're going to utilize. Our yellow that we have is our short-term Fibonacci retracement levels. Now, why do we have both of them if our purple is primary? Well, what that's telling us is the yellow says this is what's happening on an intraday basis. So I can take it and I can go to an hourly chart from here, and these yellow levels are going to be the purple levels within an hourly chart, and etc. So as you break down a chart into time frames to do time frame analysis, they're going to become each other. So it's giving you a structure, an idea on what's happening in the smaller surfaces of the chart on the intraday time levels. Now, another reason why we utilize this is we want to look at overlapping levels. Now, again, we've got two different time ranges, data loads in these Fibonacci levels. It creates a very powerful signal when we get these levels to line up. So as we can see right now, we've got a 100% retracement value and a 50% retracement value acting on our current prices, which is a strong level. So since we can see these levels lining up, that gives more validity to the current price level and current support and resistance levels. Now, in my professional opinion, Fibonacci shouldn't be traded based off of only Fibonacci's, but as far as confirmation tools, they are an extremely powerful confirmation tool to be utilized with support and resistance. Up at the top, we've got our scoring indicator, which of course gives us that value of 81, and it's giving us a high ranking as to a reversal probability. Now, we're not in this trade yet because we have not yet broken our high, but we can see that it's setting a base very nicely, and I would expect to see that high broken within the next couple of days, within our 3-day time frame, to give us an entry on that trade for the symbol EL, or Estee Lauder. Now, our third template is going to be the zone template. Now, this is a little bit more of a simplistic template. It takes away your stop levels, and it's just looking at the expert advisor, and it's looking at your major support and resistance levels. Now, as we know, support and resistance levels aren't one specific price, but they are in relation to each other a zone. Now, that zone is automatically calculated within the expert advisor itself, but for a visual interpretation, you can see that the solid line is the primary line, okay, or the start of that zone, and then the dotted line indicates the ending of that zone. So if you get a price breakout that moves through the dotted line, you pretty much know that you're going to continue down for some time until you find another support or resistance level depending on the direction that you're moving. So if we look, we can see with our resistance, well, let's zoom in at this example. We can see that prices came up to our resistance level, and they made it to the top of the zone but could never successfully break through. So even though we had a signal, okay, prices hovered within that zone before picking to choose a direction. So that's where analyzing the zone comes into play, and it's more of a simplistic structure visually to analyze what those signals are giving us. Okay. So now if I want to take this and I say, okay, I want to analyze buy signals. How successful have my buy signals been with Estee Lauder? Well, looking back historically, I can see that they definitely had some very good signals with Estee Lauder. This is where it's going to point us in the direction of our system tester. So I'm going to go back to the system tester, and I'm going to scan my list that I just had with my SR bounces to find out historically what a benchmark is. Now I'm going to get more into back testing in a minute and what you should be looking for within a report. Now, there are 4 system tests that come with the LCI trading system. You've got your support bounces, and then you've got bounces with optimization. Now, the optimization is going to adjust the scoring threshold that is required in order for you to actually get a signal. So it'll crunch it so it says if the stock does better if you're 80 or above, or 90 or above, or 60 or above. It's going to give you that threshold so you can know that a bounce signal within itself might have more validity than the actual scoring, or vice versa. And it's the same with breakouts. So the breakout structure that we have, you can test my standard values for breakouts, and then you can look at the SR breakouts with optimization. Now, breakout signals themselves, I primarily actually use on an intraday basis, but they do work well on a daily basis as well, provided that we still utilize that confirmation of breaking the lows and identifying where our trend is for a continuation. So for the purposes and for the signal that we're looking at now, I'm going to go to my SR bounces, and I'm going to select my custom list. And then I'm also going to select the Dow 30, just to give me a benchmark of maybe some instruments that I haven't seen yet that might give me a structure. Now, when you backtest, you want to analyze trades that are going to hold within your account. There's a lot of traders that aren't able to short with their account, or they're not even looking to short. Or maybe you look to only short and you're not looking to go long at all. You'll want to structure these biases. If you can only utilize long trades within your account, then only use a long trade option, as the sell signals for shorting aren't going to be tailored for what your portfolio is looking at. Right now, I want to test and see how my buy signals are doing within Estee Lauder. So I'm going to select long trades only. And then my trade options, I'm going to set my trade options to percent of available equity at 30. Okay. And a very important with the LCI trading system is make sure that realistic market prices is unchecked, because I've actually calculated all the limit orders and exit orders that you would place based off the system are already created in formulas within the system itself. So that's taken care of for you. So we'll uncheck realistic market prices, set everything to close is fine. Make sure your delay order opening is set to 0. We'll say OK. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to say start system test. Now, what this is going through and doing is it's crunching again all the buy signals that I've had over a 1500 period, which is about 5 years. So we're looking with the buy signals over the last 5 years, how have they performed? And if I go to view, you can see that I've had a lot of very nice signals that have occurred within the market that have performed very successfully. So if I want to look at one, so if I look at Nike, for example, so 8 and 0, okay, I'm going to go to view. Now I can see that with Nike, my S&R buy signals, my support and resistance buy signals, perform very well. Right? I can see that my profit, okay, was 13,870 based off 30% risk. Okay, so based off of a buy and hold index, it was below the buy and hold, but you don't want to pay attention to the buy and hold for this reason, that you don't know if you buy a stock that day that it's going to go up. And what the buy and hold index is saying, if I would have bought Nike 5 years ago and held it to this time frame, I would have made this much. Okay, well, if your money's in Nike for 5 years, you're tying up your value and you're not going to give yourself an opportunity to trade other stocks. So the buy and hold performance isn't as important as some of the other factors that we want to look at within our performance report. What we want to look at specifically is we want to look at our profitable trades versus our unprofitable trades. Now, with Nike, we had 8 profitable trades and 0 losing trades. Okay, so it performed very well. Now, the average profit was $1,700, and our highest profit was $9,000. Okay, if I look at an equity line, I can see that I'm getting these very successful buy signals throughout time. Now, a lot of traders, they want to see an equity line that's a constant and steady movement upwards, which is what we do have, but they fail to realize one other aspect, which is a time basis. Now, if you were trading Nike, if you had to place a bunch of trades over 5 years, you wouldn't have these flat spots in the equity line. Now, flat spots are actually good because that means that you are in cash and you have the ability to trade an instrument somewhere else at that time frame. So all of your capital is not tied up within Nike the whole 5 years. Something that individuals fail to realize is that they want to see a system that gets these spikes up and then flat lines with very limited drawdowns. So it's something that's very important to look at as you're trading. You want to see that system. So if we go back to summary, if I go down to my average trade length, I can see 95. So my average trade is about 3 months, okay, on a daily time frame. My longest trade was 481 days. My shortest trade, though, was only 9 days, okay? So I can see that out of 5 years total trading Nike, I was only trading less than half of that. So I was only trading two years worth, okay? I guess almost 3 years worth of time frame out of 5 years. So in that investment opportunity, I was able to have time to invest in other instruments, which is extremely important. Let's look at another report of an instrument. I'll go to our report again. And then let's look at an instrument that has some losers in it. So JP Morgan, we noticed, was our most profitable. Notice it had 7 to 11. So I had 7 winning trades and only 11 losing trades. So we had more losers than we did winners, yet it was our most successful. The reason is the importance of a trading system is looking at our profitable trades versus our unprofitable trades. This is the most important aspect of backtesting, is saying, okay, is my average profit greater than my average loss? You can see with JP Morgan that we were risking, on average $760 to make $3,300 on average. Okay, our highest loss again was $1,900, where our highest profit was over $10,000. So that's where you start to see a successful system build, is not necessarily in being right 80 or 90% of the time, but utilizing a trade management structure, which the LCI gives to you in the expert commentary, to set yourself up to make more than what you're risking. And by making more than what you're risking, you can be flexible with the amount of times that you're right, and you're still going to be profitable within the market, as we see with JP Morgan. So again, just a recap. Of what the system is structuring. It's structuring support and resistance levels that are going to give us a very accurate pinpointing placement for entering long or short based off of our structured criteria. It's going to break down all of the indicators that come with the system, and again, that ranges from cycles, volume, volatility, candlestick patterns, Fibonacci ratios, and much more, to give you a ranking on that particular signal. So what that's going to do is it's going to save you time as you're going through an exploration report, as you're trying to identify, what do I trade? Well, let me rank out and see which ones are ranked the highest. then take that chunk out and analyze that within your charts and your expert advisor to come to a conclusion on the instruments that you're going to trade. Now, which is also great with the LCI trading system is on our website at info@lcinvestmentanalytics.com. We have an array of training videos and a training library where I have personally put those details together to help you understand this trading system. You can have one of the best trading systems in the world, but if you don't understand how to utilize it and what you're looking for, then it's just going to be another system. Okay? So feel free to check out those details. If you have any questions, MetaStock Support is one of the best groups that I've ever had the pleasure of working with, and will be sure to make sure that you're taken care of on how to structure your trades. Thank you for your time in watching this presentation on the LCI trading system. Hopefully we can get you over in the MetaStock family and get you on track to making those successful trades. Thanks.